Delving once more into the world of Red Dead Redemption 2, we are back with part 7 of the series. You're listening to Phil of Filbee Gaming, and today I have 15 more things in the game that some players are still yet to discover. The following will contain such things as unseen moments, hidden cutscenes, past game references, unheard dialogue, locations, or secret clothing for example. Each of the 15 will be separated into its own chapter, so if you're watching one that you're already aware of, you have the easy option to flick over to the next. After watching today's video, if you feel that there are any secrets that you believe some other players may have missed, feel free to let us know in the comment section provided. Please be aware there will be spoilers ahead for those who have yet to complete the game. With that being said, I hope you all enjoy, and let's continue with what we came here to see. 15 secrets still unseen by some players, part 7. At the very beginning of chapter 2, Arthur and Uncle, accompanied by a few of the ladies of the gang, head into the nearby town of Valentine to potentially scope out some leads. The group soon separate, with the trio of Mary Beth, Tilly and Karen heading to the Smithfield saloon to pick off some vulnerable gentlemen. As the girls leave, both Arthur and Uncle head into the general store to purchase some provisions for back at camp. What I believe a lot of players are yet to see is what the girls are actually doing while at the saloon. With the use of a free cam mod, we can see Karen smoking a cigarette at the bar, Mary Beth keeping herself cool with a fan, and Tilly upstairs checking her features in a pocket mirror. But something dangerous is lurking in the shadows, which we'll come back to in a moment. Fast forward a few in-scene moments later, Arthur is forced to come to the aid of young Tilly as she's being harassed by an unknown individual who we later learn as Anthony Foreman. But heading back to Smithfield's, hiding away in a dark corner of the upstairs of the saloon, you can see that the dangerous outlaw, Mr. Foreman, is patiently watching Tilly, waiting for his moment. In the epilogue of the title, very close to the Marston residence of Beechers Hope, there is a broken tree, which players of the original Red Dead Redemption may remember as one of the treasure locations. Leading to this tree is a small stone wall. What some players may not have realised is that this location takes a huge reference from both a real-world location and a film setting. Near the entrance to the Malabar Farm State Park in Richland County, Ohio, there is an old large oak tree at the end of a small wall very similar to that in the game. This location was made famous as it was featured in one of the ending scenes of the 1994 award-winning movie, The Shawshank Redemption. In this scene, Morgan Freeman's character of Red uncovers money hidden away by Andy, played by Tim Robbins, after being released from prison, which is hidden beneath the rocks near the base of the tree. A nice nod to such an incredible film. As players enter chapter 3 of the game, they will partake in a mission with both Dutch and Hosea, where the day's plans are to go on a fishing trip together. The three journey on, stumbling across a captured Josiah Trelawney and taking down an escaped posse of outlaws aboard a train. Towards the end of the mission, quickly realising that within all of the excitement, they never actually had the chance to go fishing, Arthur is offered the choice to either go with his mentors or head out on his own. Choosing to stick with the old guard, as the gentlemen both fish and conversate, Dutch tells a little backstory of his mother, stating that he later found out that she was buried in the cemetery of Blackwater.
Did I ever tell you my mother's buried in Blackwater?
Really? She is?
Apparently so. I only found out from an uncle of mine years later. Last I knew, she was still outside Philadelphia.
If the player chooses to examine the graveyard, you will soon learn that there was truth to this. Towards the rear is in fact the final resting place of one Greta Van Der Linde, stating that she passed in 1881. In 1907, during their time on Pronghorn Ranch, Abigail Roberts tells John that she has dreams of their family's future and has her eye on a plot of land called Beechers Hope. She believes that they could save a little money and possibly loan the rest from the bank. Although John is of course reluctant, as he's living under a false alias after Abigail leaves him primarily due to his own actions, he vows to win her back by giving her the life she desires. With the backing of David Geddes, John heads to the bank to apply for the loan. Most will know this scene, but what a lot of players may have missed is what happens if you arrive at the bank during closing hours. This occurs as an alternate introduction before the conversation with the bank manager. In the world of Red Dead Redemption 2, the elements of life can certainly take their toll. Snow, rain, mud and blood. There are a few available bathhouses to get yourself cleaned up, such as this one in Valentine, so there's no real excuse to stay filthy. Susan Grimshaw feels the same. If you return to the gang's camp, dirty enough, sometimes there's a hidden scene where Susan will scold Arthur and force him to clean himself up.
Oh, Mr. Morgan, you're quite a sight.
What's wrong?
You're revolting, and you'll get all of us sick. Come with me.
Can I lick your plate when you're done? I'm sort of busy right now.
I wasn't asking. I'm telling. My camp, my rules. Come on. Get. Shut up.
Here's some money for your troubles.
Why, thank you, kind sir.
Evelyn Miller is a character often referenced by Dutch Van Der Linde, whom he draws heavy inspiration from. In the later stages of the game, as John, we finally get to meet the man that Dutch idolised so much in a stranger mission. During the second part of the quest up at Evelyn's camp, there's a subtle reference made by John after Evelyn states that what they will soon see may shock him.
Let me show you.
Where are we headed?
Prepare to be shocked. Come along. Follow me.
Unless you're showing me Bigfoot, you should know I'm not so easily shocked, Mr. Miller.
But you will be.
Players of the classic Undead Nightmare DLC to the original title will of course recognise this from a quest known as the Birth of the Conversation movement, in which John hunts down the legendary Sasquatch. A cool callback to the infamous DLC. After returning to Horseshoe Overlook pretty distraught, Lenny is in need of a drink. In everyone's favourite mission, titled A Quiet Time, Arthur takes the young man out for a couple of beers, but ends up overdoing it, and after becoming a public nuisance, the law are forced to step in, tackling young Lenny, while Arthur makes his escape. If he is successful in evading the law, Arthur will wake up heavily hungover, quite some distance away, just north of Flatneck Station. Keen-eyed players may spot something about this location that others may have missed. There's a tree at this spot with a lover's note carved into the bark, reading March 1898, Lily loves Alfred, always in my heart. Unfortunately, it appears that the relationship didn't go as planned. If you fast forward a few years, now in the epilogue of the title, and revisit the tree, you can see that the carved message has been updated, adding, "And in my crotch, thanks for the clap, you shit." February 1903. Still in the epilogue, John receives a telegram from his former sister-in-arms, Sadie Adler, inviting him to meet her at the Smithfield Saloon in Valentine. If John chooses not to visit her immediately and continues on with the story, meeting with Uncle and purchasing Beechers' hope, there's a small hidden conversation that can occur where Uncle questions John about not meeting with Mrs. Adler.
I heard Sadie might still be alive.
Sadie? How'd you hear that?
She sent me a telegram. Said she's in Valentine.
Sadie sent you a telegram and you ain't paid a visit on her? What's wrong with you, man?
It's been a long time.
Oh, time. Sadie wants to see you. You go see her. John Marston, really? Shame on you.
It's a small detail, but one I feel that some players may not have seen. When John eventually meets Sadie, after introducing him to the world of bounty hunting, he is first tasked with tracking down a former banker, a balding New Yorker named Nathan Kirk. Mr. Kirk was last seen in Strawberry to the west. Upon arriving at the town, Sadie wants the pair to separate to cover more ground and question some of the locals for information on the wanted man's whereabouts. Players who decide not to question anyone, but to instead follow Mrs. Adler around town, can watch Sadie in action tracking down the crook.
You seen a fella by the name of Nathan Kirk?
Nathan Kirk?
Yes, from New York.
Nathan Kirk from New York?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
No, wait, I have. The bald guy? Yeah, he's staying at the Welcome Center. They rent out rooms.
There you are. He's staying in the Welcome Center.
What now?
You head in there and try to flush him out. I'll go get the horses and then wait here. And grab him if he tries running.
Easy enough.
Should be.
The squirmy character, known as Charles Chatanet, can be encountered in the city of Saint-Denis, at Doyle's Tavern, where he will share a drink with the player. After a comical conversation and a few in-game days later, Mr. Chatanet can once again be encountered, and this time he's in a spot of trouble. He's being caught with another man's wife. The husband, clearly upset about the situation, drags the man from his home, demanding answers. Immediately, the player is prompted to intervene between the pair, intimidating the man and saving the skin of Charles. But if you choose to stand idly by and leave him to his own devices, there's a hidden scene where the ladies' man will berate you for not helping him.
I don't want to die! Please! Je suis désolé! I'm sorry! I'll do anything!
Well, you ain't no kind of man at all! Don't know what I was getting so vexed about.
Oh, merci! Thank you!
But man or not, you'll get a bullet if I see you again.
Of course! Merci! And merci to you too! A great good deal you did for me!
Come on. You got yourself into trouble. Got yourself out of it.
Oh, maybe, mon ami, maybe. If only the getting out of trouble was as much fun as getting into it.
Sometimes the getting in ain't so fun either.
Oh, then you're getting into the wrong kind of trouble, huh? I'm having a silly little show at the gallery. You'll come, huh?
We'll see.
There's a bounty mission in the game where the player has to track down an outlaw named Mark Johnson. Upon locating the man, who is with his wife and son, he claims that he'll come peacefully as long as he can say goodbye to his family. Most players will allow this, feeling for the outlaw, but did you know there can be a hidden dialogue triggered during the capture? If you choose to kill Johnson's wife, he will of course be enraged with you, and will make sure that he's very vocal about it during the ride back to the road sheriff. Even upon arrival, he will try to reason with the sheriff, telling him of your actions, claiming that you in fact are the real killer and should be the one behind bars.
That's the price for Johnson. I didn't take it. Someone else would have.
You murdered my woman. He's the one you should arrest.
In the epilogue, After Abigail and Jack have returned to John at their new home of Beechers Hope, the player can trigger multiple different scenes during the night time. After a long day's work, of course, John needs some rest. If you lay in the bed beside Abigail, a short sweet scene will play out where the couple will talk about their new life that I feel some players have yet to witness.
Cannot believe we're sleeping in a house. A house we own. Just so goddamn strange.
Nice strange or nasty strange?
That's strange. Very nice.
Just south of the Van Horn mansion is a somewhat morbid and upsetting scene. Here lies the graves of a total of 12 workers who unfortunately lost their lives while on the job. Although there isn't much information to go on, many believe that these poor souls were either former victims of slavery due to the year indicated on the tombstone, or possibly a group that were killed on site during the construction of the very nearby railroad. Right now, it's all speculation, and if you have any more information on this, please share your findings in the comment section below. In Chapter 2 of the title, Arthur is ordered to rescue the imprisoned Micah Bell, who's landed himself in trouble with the authorities of Strawberry and is awaiting a hanging. After releasing him from his holding cell, Micah chooses to instead battle the entire town. His reasons for doing so soon become apparent as he storms the home of his former friend Norman. Killing the man isn't enough for Micah, as he enters the home and kills the wife Maddie too. All of this just to retrieve his favourite guns. Something that players may not have realised about this home is what comes much later in the title. Returning to Strawberry in the later chapters, the player can interact with a young boy who needs assistance in finding his lost dog. Returning with the pet, the overjoyed boy goes on to thank the player, claiming that the dog is all he has left. You will realise that the boy's home is the same building as Norman and Maddie's. This was their son, now made an orphan due to the actions of Micah Bell. Lastly on today's list, we have a hidden set of clothing that can only be obtained after completing the main storyline of the game. Casting your mind back to the very start of Chapter 2, players may recall during a trip into Valentine that Uncle claims he used to be known as the One-Shot Kid. Uncle may make a special camp request at Beechers Hope which goes as follows.
John! John!
What?
Well, this is kind of embarrassing, but I need a few things for a home remedy.
A few things like what?
Oh, just some whiskey, peppermint, milkweed, some hair grease, and, some skunk meat.
What have you been up to?
Oh, it's a long story, but it really hurts. If you're out and about and come across any of these things, well, I'd appreciate it.
I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, John.
You stay safe now.
Well, we burned the breeze long enough, I reckon.
This is a lengthy request as it requires 5 separate items to be collected, but it's easily done. The bourbon and hair pomade can be bought from any store, and the milkweed can be plucked straight from the ground. You'll find peppermint at any stables, and skunks can be found out in the wilderness. When returning to Uncle, completing the request, he'll reward you with a pair of tornado boots, a classic frock coat, a drifter hat, and a frontier vest, all of which can be found in your wardrobe. This is known as the frontiersman's outfit, but players have come to collectively refer it to as the One-Shot Kid outfit, due to Uncle's history. You've been listening to Phil of Filbee Gaming. If you enjoyed what you saw, be sure to hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications and share with friends and family or anyone you feel would be interested in content such as this. Do you know of any secrets or hidden things that you believe some players may not be aware of? Please feel free to let us know in the comment section below, and if they make it into a video, you'll of course be given full credit. If you wish to get in touch, you can do so by following me over on Instagram, that's at Filbee Gaming. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.